Good evening. My name is Likuyani Eli, and welcome to the Arts in Heart. Yet another week after a hula baloo of events befalling the announcement of the deputy president as the acting president, rather the president-elect. It has been a buzz of activities over the social media spaces as Kenyans and persons of interest in and outside the East African community and beyond discuss on the legitimacy of this announcement made by one Mr. Chebukati Wafula. He has become a man of controversy because some of his commissioners, actually four of them, were led by Juliana Cherera, saying that Mr. Chebukati acted in a manner not glorifying the office he holds constitutionally, legally, or procedurally. These are some of the basic conversations we want to have, and finally, probably have a closure on them. If not, start a conversation around the right way to handle this. And to start with, I will introduce one Maurice Ndole. Maurice, good evening and good morning to you.
Good evening to you and good morning to me. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure having you, sir, once again. I know we have a lot to talk about the kind of president we voted for, because the kind of president we want probably is not the kind of president we say has been announced or proclaimed as the president-elect. But that's a story that will follow through as we continue the conversation. African man.
Yes.
You've been touring the rest of the continent probably, but not on this bench. Kindly have a good word by saying your names to the viewers.
My name is Matasio Kagwa, known as African Man on this platform, because I stand for Pan-Africanism in whatever we do. For this topic, I'm not a fan of politics. I'm more spiritual and traditional stuff like that. But there's only one thing I can say. Today it is proved. Raila is not the fifth. He's actually the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth. Because I think there are presidents who lose, presidents who win. So right now, I think that's the only thing I can say.
Well, before you can rule on that, there is a disclaimer that this might not be the kind of answers we will be expecting out of the conversation. Godwin, good evening to you, sir. How are you this evening? Oh, you muted, sir. And you do that quite a lot, but I know it's the eyes. People with four eyes.
Fine. Good evening, Eli, Matasio, and good morning to you, Maurice. Good to see you again. Matasio, it's been a minute, huh? Welcome back to the bench.
Godwin, we want to bring people to this conversation so that they understand where we are coming from. But before we can talk about the announcements and everything that went around the announcements, I'm going to run an earlier clip of some of the stream we were doing during this coverage. And it's about 2 minutes long. So you guys have to be patient to listen through, and then we will have this conversation. This is the president you want.
Spirit of transparency. The Commission gave media access to polling stations, tallying centers, and the results portal to report the progress of election results in real time. The original intention was that various media houses will join hands and have a consortium through Kenya Media Sector Working Group report on the progress of election results in real time from one source. However, the media houses opted to do it independently, which is decisions beyond the Commission's control. And we take note that as a result of that, the tallies across the media houses vary. And we appreciate that this may be so because each media house is accessing the public portal of the result forms at different times, and each is using its own criteria and sequencing among other factors, including perhaps different amounts of resources deployed. But just want to inform Kenyans that the final announcement and declaration of the presidential result will be done by the National Returning Officer here at Bomas, and what may be happening at the media houses showing various results We hope at the end of the tallying, they'll be harmonized and they'll look similar because the results are from the same source, the same public portal. So there should be no panic about the differences we are seeing on the media screens, TV screens, because of the approaches the media houses may have taken.
Media house, can we start with you, Maurice Ndole, a journalist?
Yeah.
Are you the guys that messed this election up because you were showing and projecting different results from one media house to the other, and this was announcing this and this was announcing that? Is that where the problem began in all this fiasco called the rejected elections by Azimio?
No, that's not where the problem started. I don't think Chebukati is even saying that. I think what Chebukati is saying is he gave access to everybody, and he was hoping they were going to all access it at the same time, and they're going to form one group so that they can have a harmonized result from all the media houses. Kind of what they do in pool reporting. But I mean, the media is a for-profit entity, so everybody's trying to scoop the other person. And Chebukati is right in observing that he was hoping that the end result was going to be the same. Maybe somebody is starting by tallying the results from Mount Kenya, the other person is starting with Nyanza, the other person is starting with Northeastern. So the results were going to vary, but at the end, they were supposed to all come and gel at about the same amount. So I don't see him as accusing the media of having bungled the results. He's just trying to explain why the results are different.
True. And reason why I pick specifically on those statements, Maurice, is because one thing that has come out of a lot of people that have dived into this, and I've said it has become a social media conversation, it is that the elections were not free, fair, and transparent for whatsoever reason. And in that particular capture, Chebukati explains why this information was there and why it was going to be the final results that will be used to tally and give the final figure. So that's where the conversation starts with me.
The election was free. I mean, everybody was free to go and vote, but the people, Kenyans did their job. It's the IBC who did not do their job. So Chebukati should stop shifting the blame. He's the one who has messed up, who has bungled this election. He was getting praises from everywhere. He was getting praises from Amnesty International. All these people, Reuters called it the most transparent election in Kenya's history. And then in true fashion, just like Iwitu, he goes and bangles it up at the end. So we know who to blame. The person to blame is Chebukati, the chairman of Fula Chebukati. He appears to have had an agenda. He did not seek consensus of the majority vote of his commissions. So he's coming out there declaring a personal result, which has no support of the majority in his own commission. So shifting blame doesn't work. He needs to own up to his mistakes.
Well, he needs to own up his mistakes. Godwin, before we can really open this can of worms, because there's a lot of worms we need to chew on and probably get the fish, do we really want to talk about consensus in this conversation about other commissioners consenting to Chebukati's announcement?
I really think from my seat that's a very wrong way to look at it, because we have to understand the commission is not all about just elections. You know, like now the declaration of elections, there's a lot of work that goes into the commission. There's a lot of administrative work and all that preparation, you know, and those are the things that where a consensus is supposed to be thought for them to settle on a certain issue. But now when it comes to declaration of presidential results, that's a preserve of the national returning officer, although it's not expressly provided for in the constitution, but now that mandate based in the chair of the IBC, who's Chebukati in this context. And let's not try to look at it as if it's Chebukati the person. Even after this, we're going to have another chairperson. You'll still have the same mandate. You understand? And you know, from the polling station going upwards, that mandate is given to one person. not everyone. And the constitution, the law is clear. It says the returning officer is the one who is going to declare the results. And once he's declared the results, no one else can watch those results, even himself. It's now the court to do what? To watch whatever he has declared. And that happened in the previous election. I don't know if I think it was in 2017. It was in a constituency results, where a returning officer made an error while declaring results. So he declared the person who had lost as the winner. What did he do? He did not change there, because it is not within his power to change. You understand? So it is the court which had to say, you know what? Yes, you made this mistake, so we reverse. And now the rightful winner had to do that. And the same applies to the presidential election. It is not a matter of consensus when they want to declare presidential results. Because if it's a matter of consensus, then it means there's no need for us to vote. It is just the commission has to sit there and then say, you know what, we have these people that are contesting maybe the top two, and we feel this one should go. So let's vote, because we're having an odd number. So who the majority we have to get. So if the majority of the commissioners decide this is the winner, then it goes. If the other ones decide, it goes. But now that's not their preserve. It is first the responsibility to declare presidential results first solely in the chairman of the commission.
Great. That is the responsibility. And I know we'll have a lot of rejoinders later on. Matasio before used to write, but he's improved. He has a laptop, so he types. I would like to ask Matasio a question. Matasio, we have heard of issues of insecurity, which have been raised, and it's one of the reasons that some elections, like the one in Mombasa, Kakamega, and some other constituencies that had not voted, has been cancelled indefinitely by the IEBC chair. Is this a matter of concern that the IEBC is now saying, hey, guys, we have done our part, you've prosecuted us publicly, and now you want to proceed it to the law, how it's supposed to happen. But because of all these issues that arose before we made the announcement, we feel insecure. Are they justified?
Hey, first of all, I think we'll agree. I think a lot of Kenyans will agree IBC is a big joke, being spearheaded by the Mr. Chebukati. You see, I didn't check much, but all I know is to cancel an election indefinitely, there must be a serious issue. I come from Kakamega myself. If you ask me, the truth is, I really don't see any tangible insecurity that can cause elections to be postponed indefinitely. So for me, I would say that story of insecurity, blah, blah, it is just a hoax, to be honest.
Well, Matase, it's not insecurity in the region, rather insecurity on the personnel that are supposed to carry out. The fact that the chair, wait a minute, the fact that the chair mentioned that he had been intimidated prior to the announcements of the election. Some of his people, the body they work with, had been arrested with no particular reasons and restrained from doing their duties. As we speak, one returning officer was declared kidnapped and then later on found dead. And this is a case that is now being processed. So are you saying that those are not legitimate reasons enough?
No. They are legitimate concerns. Last time, what happened to Msando? Some of the things, let's just be very honest. We're used to lies. We're used to assassinations. We are used to rigging. All those things are happening in Kenya elections all the time, I can say. So now to say that some counties cannot vote because of this insecurity, I don't think if there is insecurity, there's one IBC. How can you say, okay, now in Kisumu, you will not vote because you're going to kill somebody from IBC, and Mombasa, you will not, and Kakamega, you will not? What about Nairobi? If it's insecurity for IBC, it's insecurity for the whole nation, not only a few states. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense for me. Why would some counties vote?
Let me come in, Matasiu, just before you proceed. Huh?
Yeah.
Let's remember why Kakamega and Mombasa did not vote for their governors and the two other constituencies. It was not because of security in the first instance. the reason why the election in those respective areas were postponed, it was because of the mistake on the ballot papers. So the ballot papers had to be reprinted for them to vote, and that the election was scheduled for 23rd of this month. You understand? But now, after the general election, we've had instances. As we speak right now, we have an officer who's lost his life, like an IBC official. We have another that was shot. His nursing injuries, and then these are people. We still have other officials whose families are seeing what is happening. Do you think now their families are going to allow them to go to preside over such election, not knowing what is going to happen to them? Understand? And that's the reason why that election is not going to happen. Even Chebukati, if Chebukati was to insist, let's continue, let's proceed and have the election as scheduled on 23rd. Who's going to preside over? Because these people are fearing for their life. So yes, he's going to say, let's go ahead and have the election. And then who's going to preside over the election? It is now impossible for it to happen. And this is provided for in the Elections Act, Section 55, which says the commission may, where a date has been appointed for holding an election, postpone the election in constituency, county, or ward for such a period it may consider necessary. And these are some of the reasons that are cited, where there's a reason to believe that serious breach of peace is likely to occur if the election is held on that date. You understand? And breach of peace, it doesn't mean just on the people causing chaos, because when someone is going to lose life, it means breach of peace. And these are justifiable reasons for IBC to postpone an election. And in this matter, it has postponed indefinitely until it's confident that now an election can proceed without anyone having fear over their life.
I agree with you because it's in two steps. The first story was because of administration paperwork, isn't it? Then you say, okay, your papers are in order. I will agree with it. Your papers are in order. Everything is okay. You do it on 23rd. Now, we don't know if the papers are now okay or not. Now, the new story is there is insecurity. That's what I'm saying, the narratives, to be very honest. Because if you tell somebody, okay, you cannot do it today because you don't have papers in order. Like they say last time, Sakaja, you cannot play, you cannot run because you don't have a degree. Okay? Now, then there come another reason why he cannot run. So we ask ourselves, is it the first reason or is it the second reason? So that's my question is, if it was the paper problem, has it been solved? Yes or no? Now, if it has been solved, so we have a new story. The new story now is insecurity. Now, my question is, how can 2 or 3 counties alone be the security problem than the rest of the country? With the paperwork, I can understand. You can say, Kakamega, your forms are not in order, we postpone to a certain date. But now we make it indefinite because there is a new story of insecurity. That's why I get confused.
And let me jump in there. Let me jump in there. I think that we cannot minimize the issue of insecurity. Safety first. These are IBC agents are from families. They have loved ones, and we wanna make sure that when they're executing their job, they are safe. So that we cannot minimize. So in this case, I think postponing indefinitely does not make any sense. We can have the election, we can provide security, we can bring extra security. Although we are now with Chebukati alleging that his people are being arrested arbitrarily and there's all these other things, it raises questions about who's doing the arresting and why they're being targeted. But the issue of postponing the elections indefinitely raises other problems, because we now have governors over there who are going to be termed out. So this is now becoming a constitutional issue. So Chebukati has to figure out a way of making sure that we don't get into more trouble by his actions, and we get the elections to be conducted in those areas. That way, those areas can have the leadership they deserve, bring in security, have secure locations over there, bring police who are going to secure the area so that the election can happen. I find it convenient. I mean, let me not say that I'm not saying that in a light way, but I find Chebukati's actions, okay, after announcing Ruto as president-elect, despite the objections of a majority of his commission, to be really questionable and incredible. Okay, while he's not supposed to, he's not required to seek consensus from the group, because consensus requires everybody to agree. It's very difficult for everybody to agree. Okay, somebody might disagree that the rounding off is incorrect, so they're not going to support it because of that. Somebody might disagree because they think that the vote that is outstanding could make a difference. Somebody might disagree because they just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. So consensus is a difficult standard to achieve. Okay, but if you have a majority of your commissioners objecting to the results, then you should pay attention to that. Those are the kind of things that cause a crisis. In fact, the only reason why Kenya is not in a crisis right now, we have a man called Justice Maraga to thank, because Justice Maraga gave Kenyans the confidence that the judiciary can come in and take care of these things.
Yeah.
If it were not for Justice Maraga, right now Kenya would be burning because of Chebukati, who is now acting as Kivuitu Jr. So we need to really pay attention to these things. He needs to find a way to get those elections in Mombasa and Kakamega to run according to schedule, bring security, okay, and make it go. Okay, we cannot be a nation that is behaving like a banana republic. Chebukati was given all the time in the world. Yes, we're not going to blame him for the postponement of the Mombasa and Kakamega, because those two governorships had a lot of problems. We had Sonko, who was in court until late July, so it took a long time for it. Was almost, I can understand why they did not have the right names on the ballot. The same thing with Cleophas Malala in Kakamega. So those were some of the issues that maybe caused the confusion in the ballot. But they've had enough time to fix that. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. And in the meantime, he needs to accept that he erred in declaring Ruto the president-elect without a majority acceptance in his own commission.
I'll still disagree with you. I'll still disagree with you.
A minute each, please.
I'll still disagree with you, Maurice, because there's whether he had consensus or not, the buck stops with him, because even if they had consensus, he's still the same person who was going to declare. And you see, the polling ends at the polling station, not at Bomas of Kenya. You understand? And at this point, we had Form 34 is being uploaded on the portal. You understand? It would be more reasonable if the commissioners came out and say, you know what, we did not have a consensus because we had this number, and from the number that Chebukati declared, it contradicts with what we have. You understand? It will hold some water, but for people now to say, hey, wait a minute. So you have these figures, and Chebukati has these figures. Then let's interrogate these figures, see where the confusion came in. But you come in to claim you didn't have any consensus. The numbers are not correct, yet you don't have something to benchmark with, to say, you know what, this is what Chebukati provided, and this is what we have. And because of this, these are the issues we're trying to sort out, because these numbers and these ones were not adding up.
Godwin,
you understand?
Godwin, your argument is flawed. Your argument is flawed because you are saying that we should just go in and at the polling station, once the polling station has declared the result, we should just call it a day. Those results have to be transmitted back for compiling to Bomas, where they're going to compile all those results, add up all those numbers, and then declare the results. And those are the results that finally get announced. The tallying is not done at the polling station. The voting is done at the polling station.
Let me ask you a question, Maurice.
Let me finish. The polling is done at the polling station, and the voting count is finished over there. And then they transmit the Form 34A, which is going to be compiled and into another form, 34B, I believe, and then 34C, and then 34D, which now is the certificate for the candidate. Okay, you cannot really credibly say that because they're telling us the polling stations have already declared the result, that's final. Okay, that is flawed. And if
let me ask you a question, Morris.
If you're arguing that Chebukati is the one who should declare the result, then why do we need the commissioners? He should have been there by himself. We have 7 people that he has been working with the whole time. Why is he refusing to work with them at the very last minute? Yeah, he should have just taken the job himself and done it and ran away with it. Okay, and there is a
let me ask you a question, Maurice. Let me ask you a question, Maurice. So you want to tell me these results that were being verified at Bomas of Kenya for all those 6 days, these commissioners were not aware, including them themselves reading some of the results, for only to turn out to come up the last minute. And you see, look at the turn of events, Maurice. Let's try to be practical here. You understand? Just a few minutes to announcing the results, how these commissioners found themselves in Serena. Remember, these are 2 different venues apart. Serena is around Karen. Around GPO here. Here along Kenyatta Avenue. And then we have Bomas in Karen. And then we're having, at the time we are seeing commotions at Bomas of Kenya, we're having a press conference at Serena. So you want to tell me it was something that it was just a coincidence that the 4 commissioners
This was a simmering thing. This was a simmering thing. If you listen to those commissioners, they said that Chebukati had a back office, which is the only one who had access to the information there. In the back office,
they raise that issue?
Do anything. Let me finish.
At what point did they raise the issue?
Saying that the commissioners just abruptly disagree with Chebukati is not accurate. We don't know. The truth is, you don't know.
Maurice, we had 6 days. We had 6 days, so they realized there was a back office on the 6th day.
Look,
the Bomas.
Godwin. There are times when you're working in an environment where you have disagreements, but you tolerate it. Okay, so it appears, in my opinion, that these commissioners were trying to tolerate what Chebukati was doing, but they could not take it anymore because it has hit a moment where they had to act. One of the commissioners, Justice Nyang'aya, said that Chebukati has access to a back office, which he is the only one who has access, and they don't even know what he does with that. So whether it's going over there to change the results, we don't know. Whether it's going over there to update the results, we don't know. That is the opaqueness they're talking about.
I want to come to that and I'll allow
process.
Maurice.
And the IEBC agents that I saw in Los Angeles were very professional. These are really good people. So Maurice, it's not them. This is a Chebukati problem. So we have to ask ourselves, why is Chebukati suddenly at the last minute refusing to work with his own commission? Okay,
Great.
Why?
Let's ask that question to everybody.
Because they're trying to sabotage him.
In the meantime, Godwin, let's just get some comments. I will allow you, African man.
The majority wins. He's in the minority. If Chebukati thought that he's
short, so I gave you guys time. So
then he should have fired all the other commissioners and done the commission by himself.
Gentlemen, let's kindly engage the audience, okay? In the meantime, send us much comments about this conversation so that we can have an open mic session once we return to the panel. I have Bevelyn Nyantika who says, why did we have division in IEBC? The last meeting, all they have been working all through together. Why did they have a division in the IEBC at the last meeting? All they have been, although they were working through, I believe that is what is trying to be expressed there. What does that tell you? This thing is not valid to win this election. That is obvious. We'll read another comment. Some of those Form 34As didn't have security features, says Defiance Okeyo. Stella Nanjala says, I wish Supreme Court ban both Ruto and Chebukati from either carrying out any election or participating in any elections in Kenya forever. Earlier on, we had Blaine talking about why did he have to announce, yet he knew very well that Ruto didn't win this election. Everyone knew what happened. It was all over. social media, Maurice? You know why I put
Well,
a
the
smile
social
on that?
media, I mean,
I
one of the things that we have to admit that I mean, I'm a journalist myself, and Eli, you're also a journalist. One of the things that we have to admit, social media is way ahead of the media. Okay, some of the things you see on social media, especially when it came to this election and all the discrepancies in those 34 from 34A, okay, first appeared on social media. Some of them have not even been covered in the so-called mainstream media. Okay, we have cases of rigging, serious rigging in Mount Kenya region, where Ruto just like inflated his numbers like crazy. Okay, if he did not inflate his numbers like that, there's no way in hell he could have won. So in the first place, the whole idea that Chebukati is rushing to announce the results that are not valid because his commissioners themselves, the people who are sitting with him in a meeting, say that this is not real. Okay, tells you a lot. And then we have all this evidence that is coming out from social media everywhere. We have people in Central Province who have posted on social media where they were saying that the agents for Ruto would sit there and watch them vote. It was serious intimidation. So we cannot say that this election was free and fair in some parts. I mean, the Iebc got praise for pretending they were transparent by putting those forms on a public portal.
Great.
In a way that is so difficult to access. How are you going to calculate for it? Okay, so Chebukati wanted the media houses to be in 46,000 polling stations. Is that even practical? So he puts this impossible situation for us, and then he pretends that, oh, you guys were not able to do it. That's his job. It's not the job of the political parties to make sure that the results are accurate. The Iebc has a mandate to deliver.
I think we lost Maurice, and I'll try get him back.
Election, and he failed.
Great. I got that point. African man, your moment, please.
Yes. Yeah, I was cut short, but I'll try to go back. You see, let's talk like a layman, just simple layman. Okay, what is the job of the electorate? To go and vote. After that, all these people, all they have to do is to count the votes.
Yes.
Only count, mathematics. Only count. It is not whether correct, somebody count bad ones, put aside, good ones, put aside, take the good ones for who. It's very simple. Simple. Only count the votes. Now, you have a team of 7 people or 5 people. If you don't agree, it means you cannot count. That's the only job, is to count and announce. So what I'm saying is simply, all this problem, Iebc has failed. If you cannot only count, it is nothing, only counting. It is not voter electoral.
I think I would like to refuse that argument because it can mislead us. The
Why?
Iebc commissioners are not supposed to count those votes. That is not their job.
Yeah.
Yes, just
we
to
know
verify.
where the counting happens.
And then,
Eli, let me maybe make my words clear.
Yes, it's important to be clear.
You have one who votes. After voting, the only thing that is going on is counting and allocating.
At
counting
what level?
At what level? From the polling station itself.
Great.
You understand?
The counting happens at the polling station.
So now what I'm saying is we have not seen very big disagreements in counting in polls. There's a few, but that one is not very relevant. The most important thing is the final one. You have been brought forms, I don't know, 34A, whatever. Just, you see, when you tell me that they don't agree on what? When the election is transparent, you don't have to have a consensus. A consensus is clear water. This is 1, this is 2. So if you cannot say this is 1, this is 2, it means that organ has failed. That's what I'm trying to put at. The whole thing, and Chebukati being the leader, if you tell me it come all the way up to there, and then the announcement you don't agree, it means you cannot count. That's what I'm trying to say, because you're not doing anything more than just seeing, okay, Ruto has got how many? 20. Raila ngapi? Hivi. Ojakoya ngapi? Hizi, to announce. Like it's after you come hamwezi kufanya. It means that whole Iebc is a hoax.
And you see, let me come in, Matasio. There's one thing, let's not be dishonest with each other here. Understand? The same Azimio guys that are complaining about quorum of Iebc, they have been beneficiaries of the the less they're not fully constituted commission. You understand? We've had the BBI issue coming up. By then, these commissioners are not there. Remember, IBC has worked with 3 commissioners after all the other 4 commissioners resigned after the 2017 election. The verification of signatures was done with those 3 commissioners. No one was complaining. But now when it bites them, now that's when they want to complain about majority. Why didn't anyone come? You know, that issue was before the court about if IBC was fully constituted or it had quorum to verify the signatures of BBI. And the court ruled it was okay because even before then we had precedents. There are by-elections that were conducted with IBC with only 3 commissioners. Now, why does it come this time? That's the time we want to say the majority of commissioners were not there. These commissioners were appointed in August last year. All this time, IBC has been working with 3 commissioners. So you want to tell me everything IBC has done before these commissioners were appointed was null and void because registration of voters happened in that time. Everything that was happening with 3 commissioners in the office. So Maurice, you want to tell me everything that happened before then, before these commissioners were appointed, was null and void?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. That's not. Look, let me make it very clear. I've interacted with IBC commissioners. I mean, at least one IBC commissioner and several IBC people. IBC people are very professional. They are very professional people. I mean, I have no problem with the IBC people as individuals. They know what they're talking about. These are highly intelligent people. The polling, the presiding officer that was brought to Los Angeles was a highly intelligent lady, and you could tell just by how she was handling things. So IBC people are not the issue here. The issue is
I'm talking about the commissioners. I'm talking about the commissioners.
Let me finish. The issue is the chairman. The chairman acted like he has a hidden agenda. The chairman did not seek consensus or even a majority vote. When he realized that he was going to lose the vote, he rushed out and made an announcement that has actually tainted this election, which was receiving praises everywhere. Chairman Wafula Chebukati is the sole responsible person for the current issues we are having with this election. Nobody else. So all these other commissioners who came out, they had to speak up because they tried to speak to him in private, but he took it upon himself and arrogated himself the responsibility of announcing the results that other people object to, that he has gathered from a back office that he's the only one who has access to. Are we a dictatorship? Okay, then why do we need commissioners? If Chebukati was going to make the decision on his own, then we should have just told him, Chebukati, why don't you do the election and decide on who the president is? That's not how it works.
That's not how
it works. In the minor KI case, that was rejected. They said that we cannot vest such immense powers in one person.
And then in the same minor KI case, Maurice, I think if you had access to it, paragraph 36, it says it cannot be denied that the chairperson of the appellant, who is IBC, has a significant constitutional role under sub-article 10 of Article 138 as the authority with the ultimate mandate of making the declaration that brings to finality the presidential election process. Still in the same case you're quoting, Maurice.
Yes,
that was still declared.
I'm not objecting to that. I'm not objecting to that at all. But how do we arrive to that declaration? The way we arrive to that declaration is the plenary has to sit down and accept that this is the true result, this is what we certify, and sign off on it. And then he goes out and announces it. His role is to make the declaration based on what they've actually found.
I think we don't want to mislead our audience, because I would love for somebody to really quickly check out that. Godwin, if you can kindly get us the copy of the Constitution so that we can look at that article, because from where I sit and from the kind of information I have about all this process, it doesn't call for consensus. However, let us digest that, okay? It is not being disqualified. Again, let me get some comments that are coming through, because I really want to engage our viewers. Chebukati is busy preaching. I mean, parading his opaqueness on social media. Instead, he has to tell the court. Earlier on, there was a message from Bevlin, and Bevlin is really on this case. I think it means a lot to her. Thank you, Bevlin. It is okay. It is okay. These IEBC commissioners were there, but my question is, why do we have division in IEBC? The last minute, what comes into your mind? She's asking that question. Chebu kwanza natumia letterhead ya IEBC kuprint uongo. Okay. I didn't see that coming. Abel has just said sawa kabisa. Okay, Abel. Matasio says, all things stand, there will be more voter apathy going forward if our votes don't count. And this is something actually wanted us to continue in this conversation, because it's part and parcel of where we were headed as we process on. Will we say that this country is divided more than ever, or is it united in one cause?
Maybe if I go first.
Well, I think we are divided, but we're divided for superficial reasons. We are divided because we have no faith in government. We are divided because we feel as if the government has left us to hang to dry, and we are divided because of corruption. And we are divided. The corruption we are witnessing is we are actually talking about the corruption in IEBC right now. Okay, so the divisions we are seeing is something that can be bridged if we continue to work at it. When people believe that their votes are going to count, then they're going to start bridging towards supporting the government and believing in the Kenyan spirit. And I want to say, one of the things that I do publish in hotseatnews.com, and I have a reporter who has done a story which is going to be publishing maybe tonight or tomorrow, and the story has interviewed young people, okay, and young people are saying, you see, we knew how votes were not going to count. So this behavior by Chebukati has raised even more voter apathy, okay, because of how he has behaved, how he has acted unilaterally to declare Ruto the president-elect. Maybe Ruto could have won legitimately if everything was done right. But now we don't know, and the whole thing is tainted.
Let me say this. I think I'd say after this election, Kenya is even more united. And why do I say this? We've all witnessed the previous elections dating back to 2007. You know, we've had where after results are being declared, we are seeing people on the streets. You know, people. I mean, but this time around, yes, people are not happy. For those who voted on the opposing side. But again, what the message that has been going across the board? You know what? The results have been declared. We are not happy. But at the end of the day, life has to move on. Have you seen any people moving to the streets? I don't know. You know, we used to have the Machozi man and all that. I don't know, boycott and all that. But now people are united. You know, we've realized that as much as we're here, politicians will do whatever they do. But at the end of the day, we are Kenyans. And that's why we've been seeing peaceful messages going across the board on social media and everywhere, you know. And that's why you've seen now, even after Raila claiming his election has been stolen again, people are not going on the street because people are like, yeah, if you're not satisfied, there's a recourse that is provided for in the constitution. This is the procedure to follow. Go to the court. If they nullify or order for recount, that's it. But if they don't, we're not going to the streets because already where we are right now as Kenyans, we are suffering. We cannot even find more time to go on the streets to demonstrate or to boycott anything, you know. So I'll say we are more united at this point, more than we were in the previous election.
Matasio, if you can allow Matasio before. Okay. Matasio, are we
go
divided as a country? Say?
No, okay. For me, I think we are divided, but in a more mature way of being divided. And I support Maurice a lot. You see, it doesn't mean that when we don't go to the streets and burn tires and fight, we are united. No. That's what we have to. The idea of thinking that, okay, now Kenyans are united because they don't go on the street, they don't fight. The reason now that there is no fight is what Maurice mentioned before. Some people still have hope because there is the court of law. They know it's not the end. You can say, oh, we are not divided. Then when it goes to court, another results come out, then you see fire again. So it means you are not divided. You are not united. You are divided, but we were having some hope somewhere. So for me, I see a lot big of division, a very big division among the Kenyans. It is less than, it is even, for me, I think it is even more than last time when we had to draw the country in two parts. This goes this way, this goes this way, until this swearing in of Raila with in the park. So for me, I think my point is we are very divided at this moment, but in an intellectual way, in a peaceful way. You know, sometimes you agree to disagree. So we have agreed to disagree. You see, when you look on the Azimio side, people are 100% holding their horses. You look at the UDA side, people are 100% holding their horses. Unity will mean, you see people go like, actually, I've looked at it, I accept. Nobody's accepting it clearly. It is all, everybody's holding on to their horse. And I think it's because most people still have hope in the court. For some of us who supported Wajakoya, go like, you know what, better take all the number 1 and 2 away, put number 3, let this number 2 go solve their problem, and we come again. In fact, my question is, what if they both stall? We don't have to go and vote for 2 thieves again. What if Raila stole and Ruto stole? Put all of them out, put the other number 2 and 3, number 3 and 4, then we go on. So for me, I don't agree we are united. I think we are divided, but in an intellectual way.
And then there's something I want to debunk.
Allow Maurice. Allow Maurice, please, Godwin.
It's my turn, Godwin. You went before Matasio, African man. So I think Matasio makes a very good point. We are divided in an intellectual manner. And Martin Luther King once said, okay, peace is not the absence of war.
Yes.
Okay? We could be being peaceful, but we are tormented. Okay? Yeah. Peace comes with justice. We need electoral justice in Kenya. Not just for Raila, but for the citizens.
Yeah.
For the citizens. The citizens have to be sure that the people who are leading them were actually put there by them.
Yeah.
That they were not rigged by some forces over there. They did not bribe somebody in a polling station so that they can staff the ballots. Well, we have 100,000 plus in some constituencies that have been awarded to one candidate, when you see other candidates who are running the down ballots don't have the same amount. We have in cases where more people voted for the president and just walked away, did not vote for the senator. So those anomalies need to be addressed. Those are the things which cause people to say that Iebc is not competent. And I have to say again, I have seen Iebc people. Iebc people are smart, they're competent, they're lovely people. I have no problem with the Iebc people. I have a problem with the system that they use to help rig the election. And it appears that the person who's actually doing that, okay, is the person at the top who has access to the back office that is not showing other people. So let's not kid ourselves. If it were not for Maraga nullifying the 2017 elections, Kenya would be running right now. So I applaud Kenyans for staying peaceful, and I urge them to continue to stay peaceful. And once the case has been decided by the court, we will abide by what the court decides, whether we agree or we disagree. But that is the recourse that we have set, and the judiciary, thanks to Maraga, is actually working on it. So let's not kid ourselves. There is no Kenya.
Exactly, Maurice. And there's something I really want to debunk this narrative that people say their vote doesn't count. You know, because at the end of the day, we will always have only one winner. And you see, like for the top 2, it's a hotly contested race. So you cannot just say because you have many people, their vote has to speak just because for them to be president. You know, we can only have one winner at a time, even if it's one winning with one vote. You know, so it doesn't negate the fact that now the 6 million or the 7 million that voted for this opposing candidate, their vote is not counting just because their candidate is not a president. We can only have one president at a time. It is a contest. You fight, and then one person will win. You understand? And then coming to the next point, where you're saying, what was the point? I think just we can proceed.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. There's usually more losers than winners in elections, and but then it has to be credible. That's the point. The point is IBC should be able to deliver a transparent and effective and credible election. If they cannot do that, then we don't have any use for them. Okay, we are trying to build a democracy. After 2007, the lessons we learned from there is we cannot mess around with elections. These are sensitive stuff. So for Chebukati to behave the way he did, well, he has actually threatened our national security with his behavior.
So in a nutshell, we are saying Chebukati has been bad news in all these events, and there's nothing we can hold him and say, Chebukati, well done, as you retire from this office, you did a good job. Is that what we're saying?
I disagree with
that.
In my
opinion, his handling of the announcement, yeah, he did not do a good job there. I don't know him as a person. I think he's a good man, but the way he handled that was not good.
I really want to disagree with that because we cannot be taking side trying to front a narrative that seems to suit the outcome you want. Understand? Because if we reflect back, after 2017 election was nullified, which was headed by Chebukati. Understand? Raila declined to go back to the repeat poll because the commission was still being headed by the same people. Understand? Now it's understandable. Maybe he had issues with Chebukati. Now Raila has been here in the government has been in bed with the government for almost 5 years right now. At what point did Chebukati stop being a bad person, only for him to become bad again when he's declaring election? You know, if it was the right course, because in the nine-point agenda, we had issues of electoral injustice, how they're going to be solved. Did we have these issues being resolved about the elections? You know, for Raila, if he didn't have confidence with Chebukati after he handled the 2017 election, he would have as well boycotted this one, saying, you know what, this is the man that was at the helm of this commission when we had these issues. I cannot proceed going into this election with him at the top, because he refused to go for a repeat poll because Chebukati was still heading the commission. Now, what changed for him to accept to go back to the election with the Chebukati at the top? You know, someone is fooling the other here, and let Kenyans, we're not supposed to be fooled every other time, so that you say this time election was stolen.
Got it. At the end of the day, we have 4 commissioners who are sitting with Chebukati in the same board who have objected to the results. It's not just Raila. It's not just Azimio. Okay, 4 commissioners in his board who have stood with him since August of last year to now, have part ways with him, dissented that the results that he is announcing they cannot vouch for. That should tell you something. That should tell you something. This is not, I mean, you're making a strawman argument about what Raila should have done and what he shouldn't have done. Okay, the commission has changed, the constitution has changed. He's still not a perfect, but he was willing to play with that because he's a Kenyan. He believes in Kenyan as a nation, Kenyan nationalism. So when he decides to participate for the sake of Kenya's unity, he should not be blamed. Okay, because he did not do what Kenya Kwanza wanted him to do, which is to boycott. Okay, strawman arguments like that don't take us anywhere. We need to understand the way it is. The reality is we have a commissioner who has gone rogue, okay, decided to override all the commissioners. And now the whole election has lost credibility. Whether we like it or we don't like it,
I'm trying to avoid this direction.
President is going to be a president without a mandate because his ascension to the presidency is tainted by the actions of the Iebc chairman.
And you see, Maurice, I'm trying to avoid this direction, but I think you're pushing to take that direction because, you know, someone will look at it, even the 4 commissioners that rejected to be part of the the process to be partisan. And you all know, previously say social media is way ahead, and you've seen all the images that have been resurfacing on how where Juliana Cherera has been before, and her circles, I mean, and such issues raise eyebrows. Look at how choreographed the entire thing was after they stormed out of Bomas. The first press briefing, the next one. So Azimio brigade comes before Raila gives a press conference. It's preceded by the 4 commissioners giving their press briefing, and then you see it's like a scripted scenario. Both of them citing the minor K case, and it's not. Remember, these guys after storming out of Bomas, they did not give their reasons, or rather, they did not give room for questions to the media personnel at that point, and they said they give a full report later. Because I would say these guys now are going to write a script, because for them to leave Bomas, it was on a short notice, and now the same things that the question they are evading is what they are trying to bring out on the following day. Just minutes before, Azimio gave their press briefing, and we all know, as at KICC, they are streaming that press briefing before they made their briefing. You understand? So it looks more of a choreographed thing than just a coincidence.
Well, look, let's put Azimio aside and put Kenya Kwanza aside. Okay, let's put those aside right now. Let's talk about the credibility of the election. Let's assume that this was the election for Uganda, and you are watching it from Kenya. Would you have considered it credible if that election, the commissioner of Ugandan Election Commission, is announcing results that some of their commissioners are objecting to? The answer to that is no, you would not have considered it. And you mentioned a very elaborate argument here that, we've seen Cherera in all these social circles. We've seen Chebukati with Ruto. There's a lot of images of Chebukati with Ruto.
Exactly.
Okay,
and those I'm telling you,
that's not a standard to use.
And that's I'm telling you, Maurice, you can.
No, let me finish. Let me finish. I don't talk over you. I don't talk over you.
Proceed.
Let me finish. These people have the same social circles. Okay, they go to the same events. They know the same people. Okay, it's just part of how things work. Even in the US, that's the same way. I mean, if you're a politician, you know all these politicians around you. You take pictures with them. You attend social events with them. So am I supposed to extrapolate the pictures I've seen that Chebukati is walking with Ruto is where he was getting a bribe? That's the argument you're making. You're trying to act as if these people should live like in a silo, that they should be separated from other people, which is not practicable.
And this is what I'm telling you, Maurice, and that's the same scenario you're taking is the same thing you're trying to use to vilify Chebukati, because you associate him with Kenya Kwanza. He helped Kenya Kwanza rig. And on the other side, on the Kenya Kwanza side, they'll say, you know what, these commissioners are trying to, because it's a narrative going on, these commissioners are trying to force a rerun. You understand? So it depends on which side you are. And you see, once you take a side and you say you're vilifying Chebukati because he declared Ruto president-elect because you don't like Ruto, the other people will say these commissioners are trying to force a rerun because Raila was not winning.
No.
So, and you see, and that's why we make this issue of commissioners to be partisan. It's very beautiful.
Before you guys ban each other.
Let me correct you, Godwin. I do not dislike Ruto. Okay, I have no dislike. My attitude towards Ruto is not qualified to be president because of his past corrupt dealings and all that. As a person, Ruto is a very fascinating politician. He's the best orator I've ever seen. Okay, I do not have any bad feelings about Ruto at all. In fact, I like him. I like Ruto. Okay, but he did not win this thing clean. This is not clean, Godwin. He needs to ascend over there by acceptance. If Ruto wins this thing, let's say the court decides we're gonna do a rerun or we're gonna do a recount, and then they count one by one and he wins, everybody is going to celebrate. Everybody is gonna let him be the president. Really,
Well,
honestly, I've talked to so many people.
Can I step in?
Actually, Raila has more negatives than Ruto when it comes to personal feelings.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Great. Okay. Allow African Man, because I really want us to move this conversation. We are running out of time.
Yes. Hey, you've talked a lot, but I almost lost the point I was gonna give. I want to go to Maurice when he mentioned if you are from Uganda. You understand? I have a lot of friends from other countries, to be honest. Up the first 2 days of elections, we're like, Kenya, you are the people to follow. You are doing a very good thing. And then the last moment after the announcement, my friends are like people from West Africa, even they go like, we had hope in you, Kenya people. You have again behaved like stupid again. And that's exactly what I'm saying. What I'm supporting most. If you are watching from outside, if we don't go take sides with the Ruto or Raila, you will find that this is nothing to trust. You cannot trust such an organization. That's all about it. Do Kenyans have faith in IBC? I think 70%. No. Now, then we come to another point. Is Ruto a bad guy or is Raila a bad guy, or are they good or bad? What Maurice said, I agree with him. To be honest, Ruto is a very nice guy if I would find him in other circumstances. For example, if Ruto would be a pastor, ningeokoka. To be honest, if you would be a pastor, ningeokoka. Lakini siasa, hapana. You understand? Because I can deal with that. I can deal with that. That is you and your God, and the way you're convincing me, you bring me more closer to spirituality. But leading me, being the president. Now, we all know all lie. I said last time, I never believe politicians. I never believe pastors. And the other people I don't believe is, how do you call them again? Motivational speakers. You understand? So you understand? So when I look at this, I'm left with one choice. Which is the best liar? So I'm like, that's why I say, for me, I would say remove number 1 and number 2. In fact, you're complaining about Raila ameibiwa, sijui nani ameibiwa. What about Wajakoya? Ameibiwa ngapi? Mpaka mwenye analia, mnanipatia kura mbili. So because I know a thief is a thief. If you're going to steal from a rich man, you can also steal from a poor man. So meaning, like, if Wajakoya has a very small vote, doesn't mean that Raila cannot steal from him or Ruto cannot steal from him. So for me, I think what you should look at it is, do we need this IBC? That's my argument. Do we need this kind of organization? The structures are good, the planning is good, but to be honest, I think having having untrusted person like Ruto and a commission, rather an organization, IBC, that you cannot have faith in, it's very dangerous for the country. That's what we are saying. Even right now, I'm sure even if they say rerun, I think maybe 40% of the people who voted will vote again. Eli, will you now take another flight? Eli, that last question for you. In case there is a rerun, will you again will you drive again for 600 kilometers, go to Germany and vote back again? Will you do that?
Well, my boss wouldn't allow me to take another quick day off because I'm planning for my holidays. But that's story for another day. Yes. Let us bring this ship home, gentlemen. We have had an amazing conversation. I must admit that, and it is a healthy conversation because this is how then we forge ahead. I have a question for each of you, and you have only 30 seconds to respond. My question is it not amazing that IEBC was able to conduct an election that a lot of people celebrated winning and went ahead to say, we have so and so number of people from our side of the coalition who have qualified, and we have they only have one number over us. And then the other people say, yes, I am now the sitting MCA waiting to be sworn in. How come this thing only works when somebody or someone is winning? How come IEBC becomes a holy cow if and when one is winning?
I'll go first.
Go.
Can I answer?
30 seconds you're counting.
There are two problems. There are two people, the electorate and our leaders. And the thing that brings it is the money. I'll finish it like this. If, for example, let us assume Ruto bribed Chebukati, say 300 million, And Chebukati has the true results and the fake results. If I come with 1,000 million, whatever money, more than Ruto, he will of course give me the true results. So what we need to do is give Chebukati more money to bring the true results, and we are done. And I finish my case there.
So ideally, you say Chebukati can be bought and he has a price tag on him. But then again,
yeah,
that's your opinion, right?
That's my opinion. Point blank.
Godwin, how come IEBC becomes a holy cow when we're winning?
Mkuki kwa nguruwe kwa binadamu mchungu. That's the thing. Because all these people are complaining, among them are elected senators, governors, MPs, MCS of Azimio, complaining about IEBC that they used that still presided over the election. You know, so they are silent about them being elected, but they are quick to condemn when their candidate is not winning. And one thing I want to say this for free here, and that's my opinion actually. Raila is not the problem. The problem is people around him, because these people are using his name to campaign and win their seats. Once they are elected, they don't care about Raila, and they come and make it an IBC problem. These people don't campaign for him. You know, like they use the name Raila tunapatia kura Baba, knowing that once they proclaim Baba, as a ripple effect, they're going to be elected. Once they get their seat, it's done. So what when you kanda Raila, they're using him, and now the people who suffer it's the supporters, not even the people around him.
Thank you, Godwin, for your submission. Maurice, IBC is a holy cow when you're winning?
No, not at all. I think IBC was getting a lot of accolades when they started counting the votes, when people said that this was done right, putting the polling stations on loading staff on the Kim's kit. I personally reported on my hotseatnews.com, my experience over the Los Angeles consulate was very positive. So people don't have a problem necessarily with the IBC when they lose, because a lot of people conceded. A good case in point is the contest in Langata between Jalas and Nixon Correo. Nixon Correo actually conceded and went and together appeared with Jalas, and it was a very good moment. There are several other examples of people who have considered. Igade considered Sakaja. I can't remember other examples. So it's not a matter of people just wanting to win, but it's a matter of, is the election credible? The credibility of the election is very, very important, especially at the presidential level. Who is the ultimate leader of the country? Okay, and this election was also kind of like different, because this was the first time where there was an opportunity for people to actually have a president who's outside Rift Valley and Mount Kenya region. So there is that aspect as well, which was riding on this election. So for Chebukati, okay, and this is preposterous, for Chebukati to come out and say that these commissioners were trying to force a rerun. So he had to rush and announce Ruto, so they don't do that. That is very mean. It's a mean-spirited action, because the Constitution of Kenya allows for a rerun if it's warranted. So the question is, was a rerun warranted? If it is warranted, then do a rerun. He's acting as if doing a rerun is illegal. So Chebukati has now created a situation where William Samoei Ruto is an illegitimate president-elect. Nobody is going to take his victory as a clean victory. It's a tainted victory. And that needs to be corrected, and I hope the Supreme Court is going to do something about it. But tainted all in all, victory. I have to say kudos to Kenyans for keeping the peace. Kudos to Kenya for showing up to vote. And these are just the growing pains. Democracy is a very hard thing to nurture. So we have to keep at it until we get it right. And that's my final message there.
Thank you so much, Marie, for your submission. And we end this, as you say, tainted victory that has seen men and women crossing over to the master of politics that we will say he is. These are very fresh images of men and a lady, of course, who crossed over today. I don't know how to put this or how to conclude this.
Can I comment on that?
Very shortly.
Yeah, that is another sign of what we warn people about Ruto. Okay, what you're gonna witness now is Ruto is going to start buying off these small parties, and he's going to move them to Kenya Kwanza, and he's going to emasculate the opposition, and we are going to be headed to a one party rule like it was under Moi. The signs are there. We warned you this was going to happen. It has begun.
It has begun.
Let me just
probably
comment
it's an inherited and coherent behavior, because the so-called president, and not so-called, actually, the president of the Republic, Uhuru Kenyatta, did exactly that. Precedence was set.
Let me comment briefly on that.
Please, there are no more comments. just make a quick one.
Okay. So this is the thing, and that's what I was telling you. The point I just made: people around Raila are using his name because all these people are in Azimio. What change if there's still a recourse that is there, legal recourse? How fast could they change? How fast could they tell Raila at this moment to go to Kenya Kwanza? Does it mean Raila doesn't have money, or does it mean the people surrounding Raila don't believe in the cause is fighting?
Last time we had this conversation, one speaker was here, Mr. Simwa, and he said, these sentiments that I'll stay with I will keep them to me. And he said, there are two students. One is very, very genius and really doesn't care about revising for the exams. The other one is an average student, but burns the midnight oil to study. That is not for me to conclude, but I will leave you with a snippet of the events that partook the swearing, rather the proclamation of the president-elect that is now in dispute. Let's take a listen in.
Good evening. We have walked the journey of ensuring that Kenyans get a free, fair, and credible election. It's not been an easy journey. Right now, 2 of my commissioners and the CEO are injured. And they of course, they're being treated. We have staff who have been profiled. There's a staff returning officer in Bakassi West who disappeared while on duty. We have staff who have been arbitrarily arrested for no reasons. We don't know where they are. Some from this National Tallying Center. But we have a constitutional duty to perform. And that's why I stand before you today, despite intimidation, harassment, I took an oath of office to serve this country. And I've done my duty in accordance with the Constitution and the laws of the land. And I feel proud that I've been given this opportunity to serve Kenyans. This, of course, will be my last election to preside over. And for those who will come, we have prepared for you what the Constitution envisaged from us, an independent electoral commission.
Is it independent? Is it a well-done job? Is it Chebukati trying to win the masses with his well-prepared speech? That's a question for us to get to answer as we look into the future and get to hear the submissions that Azimio will be making if they proceed on and file that petition at the Supreme Court. Maurice Ndole, all the way in the USA, that is California, and He's chewed on a word. Maurice, I will allow you 1 second. Okay, 30 seconds, Maurice. And this is for serious, 30 seconds.
Yeah, so thank you very much for the opportunity. Follow me at my Twitter page, Maurice Ndole. You can also follow my work at hotseatnews.com. And the Twitter handle for that is at the Hot Seat News. I don't know if Eli, you're gonna be kind enough to post that up, so people
Try
can
to get
see
it up.
Yeah, and I wanna say
I'll put it in the link. I'll put it in the link.
So,
Kindly,
and I wanna wish Chebukati well in his retirement. I think as unfortunate as the situation is, he is one of us. He's a Kenyan, and we wish him to be safe during this time. Elections are very high stakes situations, and tensions go high. So we wish him well.
Wish him well. Gentlemen, any other one? Any last minute so that you don't say I gave too many votes and we had 4 people on set?
I have
Okay,
nothing
great.
to say.
Godwin, you are talking to yourself?
Godwin is on mute.
Yeah, he does that enough times. Godwin, now you can speak.
Follow me on Twitter at Godwin Segero.
Awesome.
The guy's looking for votes.
Hey, nice playing with you guys.
Guys,
great.
ladies and gentlemen, everyone that contributed to this conversation, a big thank you. Beverlyn, I see you. Stella, I see you. And I didn't know ladies can actually follow through political discussions and be very vibrant and contribute in a way that makes a lot of sense. So ladies, I appreciate all of you. All the gentlemen, Okeyo, I see you, Matasio, I see you, Abel, Abba, and everyone that is following us on all those social media channels. I know we are streaming on multi-platforms. Asanteni sana. Share this with your friends. Let us get to know their opinions about what we've heard and what we discuss and what we should be discussing in the future. Until next time, my name is Likuyani Eli, and you guys have yourself a great week and ahead. See you nakuja.
Yeah.
Ciao,
Thank you so much.
Okay, na sasa ile outro yetu imepotea. Nitawacha na hii.
In every peaceful nation, there is a possibility of people going up, no matter who is there. So for this reason we ask either an Azimio or an UDA, anything that does with the election problem and stuff like that does not help any common person. So we stand as UDA as a peaceful kind of a party, or not even a party, that we believe in the peace of all that we are going to have, and that will develop us from our childhood, our mother, or everybody up there. So peace is number one as UDA chairman representing Berlin and sub-continent, sub-district next to Berlin. I stand with that.